So first, I wanted to bring up, there's a lot of members of the audience who work in the nonprofit sector, and much of your writing and speaking is about how nonprofits are really key to economic and social health in communities, as they're the third largest employer in America. However, nonprofit organizations, their boards, employees, traditionally shy away from overt political action. And I was wondering if you can speak to how can nonprofits as a whole and employees individually capitalize on their power to affect politics?
Wow, one of my favorite subjects. Thank you. We should go on the road together. This is great. No, this is key because again, everything's there. Everything we need. Think about this, particularly, and this is very important because San Diego is one thing, but go up the Central Valley, Fresno, Stockton, Bakersfield, broker. You know, they're the places where a dynamic mayor could come in and think in effect, wait, I'm open to anything. And I've heard about this newfangled social enterprise and the idea that nonprofits are actually creating jobs, which for many people is an abstract idea. They look at us and think, you all do good deeds. .coms drive the economy, you all do charity. And the reality is we are major employers. And in fact, this is a very, very important thing to get your head around. There is no profit in America without nonprofits. You cannot make money, attract businesses or people to a community without arts and culture, communities of faith, education, healthcare, clean water, outdoors, all that stuff. And that's what we create. So in my opinion, we need to elect a generation of people who show up on day one wildly invested in this idea of social enterprise and a new economic future that looks at for-profit and nonprofit as equally essential to vibrant growth. And who turns around and says, I want to find a way in which my administration, that we take some of those boarded up buildings on Main Street and some of those men or women who might be in the homeless shelter or might be at the domestic violence shelter and some of this newfangled social enterprise and microcredit financing or impact investment. And some of these nonprofits that want to make this leap, and some of those older men and women who have a deep well of experience in life. And I got these young men and women surging out of universities wanting to do social enterprise out of the business school. It's all there. The key is electing people who show up on day one saying, let's make it Bakersfield. Let's make it Stockton. You know, let's make this the place. And so whether it's the restaurants or whether it's the light industry, I want to point out, my friend Dwight here is, Dwight, do you want to wave your hand there for a second? Dwight is a colleague who I'm excited to see today. I didn't anticipate him being here, but Dwight is what is, I think, euphemistically called a local forager for Whole Foods. And it's Dwight's job to go out and find businesses that can give Whole Foods what they want, which is the ability to say, we're providing local growers, local business with an opportunity to sell their healthy, great food to local citizens. What Dwight wants is what you want. You know, I'd like to introduce my friend Lisa Joy here, who is at UCLA, and Lisa and I were talking, and she has a production kitchen there that has generated $15 million in business, and she's looking to grow and build a new kitchen. So you've got her old kitchen, and you have her new kitchen, and you have an amazing person who wants to see business thrive through Whole Foods. So you've got a lot of ingredients, and I know this room is full of people who want to find a way in which they can be part of this. So it's all here. I just believe the key is the invisible hand of government, or in this case, the overt hand. Somebody who says, in effect, to the citizens, you know, every time you go to Whole Foods and you buy these products, you decrease the need for me to raise your taxes because this keeps money in the local community. This employs people at a good wage. This is the best way to help rebuild our city, is when you look to where do you buy your food.
Great, thank you. One more question on sort of on that note. You were just speaking about sharing resources, creating this partnership, and you do, sorry about that, and you do a lot of talking as well about the scary M word, merger for nonprofits. And I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more to your ideas about sharing resources and ideas.
Wow, okay. Well, you know, a year or two ago I wrote an op-ed on mergers for nonprofits, mainly because I wanted to bait the sector, because I knew when they heard the word merger it would freak them out. You know, seriously, most people hate that word. But it reveals, and I know we're here to talk about food, and I apologize for going a little bit further down the nonprofit lane, but because I'm a big believer that we're the ones with the incentive to pay a good wage and to buy local. You know, what's the incentive for the average business in America, the average larger business, to hire a felon, to pay a good wage, to give somebody the day off to vote, to provide health care. There is no incentive. We're the ones. It's our business. Now, I'll give you a good example of this. You know what the number one job projected over the next 20 years in America is? Home health care aid. You know what the average pay is? $19,500. So we
Unless
have,
you're a family member and then it's less.
yeah. So, but the point is, here's the deal. Here's the deal. We can either accept that and be angry, or we can say no. We're a nonprofit, and historically we haven't done this, but we'll create the jobs. Why don't we become the home health care business in San Diego? Our motivation isn't to extract profit, it's to reinvest. So without that burden, we can build a business that not only provides home health care at a living wage, but we might also provide the child care. We might also provide the home meal replacement. So there's a whole business economy we can enter if we as a sector let go of the archaic notion that we are just service providers and start to embrace this idea that we can create jobs just as much as anybody else. But this is why merger is important, because yes, I meant to become one in a certain extent, but that was just the first thing. The second, there's a whole variety of levels. It might be backroom services. It might be the association where you trade best practices, but then it gets more interesting. What would happen if all the nonprofits in San Diego merged their banking business? Imagine all the nonprofits in this region. If you said, in fact, I don't want to merge our money, just our business, but let's farm it out. And if you want our combined business, which bank wants our combined business? What you're talking about is billions of dollars. But if you want our business, we want access to capital. We want an escape from the archaic grant system that keeps us anemic and fighting each other. You know? Third level, imagine if you created a seal of approval. The nonprofits of San Diego, the nonprofits of California, the nonprofits of America, and we gave that seal out to any business that mitigates the need for us. This business provides a living wage, green policies, the days off to vote, you know, any one of a number of things. And we said to our 100 million volunteers, when you leave, look for this seal, because every time you spend your money there, you know, you decrease the need for us. This is what I call the boycott. Instead of the boycott, which punishes, a boycott incentivizes and rewards behavior and uses market forces, capitalism on capitalism. This is the future, and this is part of what we can talk about in the food system. We have the great Trojan horse of it. We have the thing everybody wants, food. And so while it's important to talk about food services, food in the context of health and sustainability and local economies, it's a gateway to a larger conversation about the power of everyday commerce. And if you choose deliberately where you spend your money, you can start to use market forces and say, in effect, if you want my business, here's the entryway. If you think about it, we've been told that the number one role of business is to make profit for its investors, right? And it's like, I don't buy that. Where's, you know, but there's no rule that says me as a consumer that I have to support that. You know, God bless America. If your goal is to make $400 million a year, God bless you. I'm just not going to help. You know, what we need is a consumer, a Milton Friedman for consumers, that says the number one goal of consumers is to support the local economy. You know, to mitigate the need for taxes by the way I spend my money, to generously give any business that puts its money back in the community my support. And that's the price for doing business in San Diego. That's the way you think. And that's the way